I bet on myself. Yeah, I bet on myself.
Yeah, I bet on myself. Yeah, I bet on myself. I don't need you, I do it myself.
What's up, J2 fam? I'm your host, Jeremiah.
And I'm also Jeremiah.
Today we have with us today someone that played receiver and special teams for Henderson State University from 2009 through 2011, where he won a GSC championship in 2010. He graduated with a bachelor's degree in political science and government and later transitioned into coaching and player personnel roles. As a coach, he won two GAC championships as an assistant running back coach for Henderson State. And also, he worked in multiple player personnel roles, including Southern Miss, where he helped win the 2015 Conference USA West Division Championship, University of Louisiana Lafayette, Buffalo Bills, and a game charter for Cleveland Browns. A former sports radio host and producer, and current director of performance for RSA Sports International and big time trainer in DFW. Please welcome Thomas Fratcher. Welcome to the pod. Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, we appreciate you. That's a lot of hype right there for sure.
That is a lot of hype. I hope I can live up to it.
So yeah, I just wanted to start out. I usually ask people like what they are off the field, but you're actually a trainer, so it would be a different type of question. So right off the bat, I just wanted to ask, you're a performance director. What does your title entail? What does your job consist of?
We work with a lot of different guys at a lot of different levels. So, the performance sector, you're working as a trainer, but then you're also working on getting guys, in the program, whether it's, the high school kids or we got junior high guys, but we're also in touch with our college and our NFL dudes. And we also work with different agents to get them in, whether it's training now so the kids can see and the guys can come in and see if they like working with us and they want to come back, in December and January to start off with their combine and off-season programs, and working with the parents and working with the kids, and then you're also working on the recruiting side with college coaches. So there's a lot of hats you wear when you're in position with this. I also work with Ronnie Braxton, so he's a guy that he's really the one who put RSA together. This is his company, and then we've come in and added some more guys like myself here that can help build this thing out to what it is today.
For sure. Yeah, it definitely seems like that you're doing a lot. One thing I want to know is maybe what is maybe one of the more challenging parts of your job, and then what's one of the easier parts?
It's a good question. I'd say the easiest part is just getting on the field and getting with the guys. Getting out there and training them and getting them better, working with them. Character development, athletic development, anything we can do to help those guys out. I mean, that's the easy part in my opinion. The challenging part, there's so many options out there to train with people, and you can go here and go there. And the challenging part is being able to, really put your product in a position to where they see it and they trust it and they believe it. So for us, we're more of a hands-on approach. We're saying, come on out at any time. We'll train at any time, and you guys can come out here and see what we're about. And that's when you'll see that what we're doing really does separate ourselves, because we're not just coaching, training or working out for bodybuilding or anything like that. We're training football. We're football trainers, and we're all about getting these guys ready for the next level for whatever that's going to be. Like I said, we got a wide range of groups out there for age ranges, and we're ready to help them all. So,
Right.
No.
So with football, especially now these days in college football, you got the NIL landscape. Do you guys hit with that as well? Could you expand on that more?
yeah, the NIL thing, that's really interesting. It's definitely evolving every day. I think we see something new every time we jump in on this. We help guys with some of this as well. I wouldn't say it's necessarily our specific forte, but we do, like I said, we talk to college coaches all the time. We got a lot of insight on what's going on and how we can help these guys. We work with a couple of different NIL programs as well to help bring guys to the table and put them in the right direction if they're the right fit, for that group and that organization. And in this day and age, you essentially need to have an NIL agent. If not, you're really just missing out on potential opportunities, whether it's marketing deals or how to negotiate with the college coaches. So, I mean, it's turned into a whole business in itself. So to have people on your side really helps, because as a player, you just want to be able to focus on what you need to do. You don't need to be worried about, what could turn into a bigger issue of distractions if you don't know what you're doing and handling these things.
For
Right.
sure.
So what inspired you to like dedicate your career towards like developing athletes?
You know, and that's kind of always been my thing is I've always liked getting guys better, you know, and I was always intrigued as a player when I was younger, you know, what are these drills that the guys in the NFL are doing? What are these drills that they're doing to get better? What's the strength training as you get in there? I was always interested. If you remember seeing a long time ago, Adam Archuleta was training with a guy called Marv Marinovich, who had this like crazy approach that he had that was really innovative at the time, and it was all about fast twitch muscles and explosive movements and everything like that. And in the era that I played in was more of it was strength training and more endurance training. And I used to see those types of workouts, and I'm like, man, I want to know more about that. I want to know more about the explosive strength movements and things. And that just evolved into everything else. I really started getting into it even more after I was done playing. It was just like almost like an addiction of just wanting to know more and more and more. And then taking all that, the thing that I love the most is being able to take what I've learned and the hardships and maybe the ups and downs and maybe the path that I took that maybe wasn't always the best, and eliminating those obstacles and then being able to put the kids that we work with and the guys that we work with that got way more potential than I got athletically, to put them in place to accelerate. And that's what I like the most. That's what I really love the most about it.
Right.
For sure.
Speaking about playing, one of the reasons why we wanted to highlight you and show you because not only you're a great trainer in the DFW area, also you played at the D2 level. Speak on the experience at Henderson State.
Yeah, I transferred in from American River College out in Sacramento, and going to a Division two at that time. It was Division two, and it wasn't as we didn't have guys like y'all out here to be able to help expose what's going on and the talent levels that were out there. And it was really like you had to love football to be able to get out there and do that. There's not a lot of fanfare or hoopla going on when you get out to these places. You got to get out there and grind. And if you're not ready to go as soon as you get there, I mean, you might as well find a way out of there because it's not going to be an easy road. So the things that I learned out there was, really taking things, the details of everything you're doing are so important, and taking advantage of every day and every second. Because coming from a junior college, you got to grind to get there, and everyone's seen last chance you and all those types of things, and that's real. And when you get to the D2 level, you're limited on resources. So the guys that you see out there, they could play. They could certainly play in the NFL. We had 3 or 4 guys on my team at Henderson throughout the time I was there that played in the NFL. The difference, in my opinion, is probably the offensive line and defensive line. But if you're looking at your skill positions, I mean, it's not that much different when you're looking at Division I stuff, to be honest.
For sure. So we talked about your time at Henderson State, and you won a championship with there as a player for the GSC. But then when you came back to as a coach, you guys also were able to win. Could you talk about just the difference being there as a coach rather than a player?
Yeah, when the 2010 team, when we won the Gulf South, that was our last year in the Gulf South. That was like a pivotal moment in the program at Henderson. The year before, we had won 3 games, and things were kind of on edge, and they were looking at making some changes and things. And honestly, that was one of the biggest lessons I learned then was everyone just like banded together, stuck to the process. We listened to our coaches. We did what they told us to do. Scott Maxfield was our head coach. He didn't play any games, so I mean he had everybody locked in and ready to go. We had some battles that year. To me that was like the perfect season, because not in the sense that we won all our games and everything went perfectly. It was the fact that the lessons that we learned, that we went through a lot of highs and a lot of lows in that season, won a lot of games, but we always remembered the mistakes. We always remembered the things that held us back from just taking it to that next level. And through all of that, that's where we ended up, getting a piece of the conference championship that year. Taking those lessons and things after that and understanding the whole cycle and process of how that takes to get there, that's what catapulted, I think, us as a program in 2012 and 2013, going into the GAC when we got to the Great American Conference, helped set the foundation for us to continue to grow. It helped us out in recruiting. It helped the mindset and the culture to evolve to a championship mindset at that point. Um, from the coaching perspective, you know, we I knew the system pretty well at that point when I got done playing. I had already been in it for a couple of years, so being able again, that's what turns me on about the coaching portion is being able to take the stuff that I learned and being able to give it now to these better recruits and these really good players we got coming in and showing them the little insights and the little nuggets we can give them to help get an edge on learning the playbook better, being better at what we're doing, and then going out there and dominating these opponents. And it shows. I mean, if you go look at the scoreboard back from the games we played, I mean, we were putting up like 50, 60 points a game back then, and it really helped to be able to put these guys on a fast track. They don't have to go through a lot of learning hardships, you could say.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, before we transition away from Henderson State, I wanted to ask about just your bachelor's degree there in political science, because I myself I pretty much dove into some politics stuff and things like that. So, like, what was the thought process of getting that degree? Like, was you like headed towards a political mindset at first?
I always liked history. History was kind of my thing, and I was in a place where I was in like we had me and my buddy, we were teammates. Ben Chandler, we had a radio show actually on campus. It was a sports talk radio show. So me and him were heavily into that. We were like, man, we want to do sports talk radio. But when it came down to it, we decided he's a coach as well. He's a high school coach. We both decided we wanted to get into coaching. So me and him were both actually really heavily into history. We had a few of our buddies and teammates were actually all history guys that kind of came into the same team at one point, and we kind of always fed off each other in that regard. But then as we looked at it more, it became more interesting looking into like the political science thing, because now you can see the difference between actual what history taught and then how politics are ran, and you're like, oh, you're starting to see between the lines a little bit here now and see that a lot of stuff that's said maybe isn't always how it went. So that's kind of what we always were looking, what we can do, find things that were cool. We had a really good professor named Dr. Martin James, who's a really good guy, kept it down to earth with us. It was just really cool, and it kept it real on a lot of topics, and it helped us learn even more. And he kind of got us we took all his classes, so he probably passed us too, because we're football players, and it helped out. So, but I took that, started working on a master's. I was actually into sports facility design as well. As long as we were, anything we could do to find things to um, make places maximize the space that you're working out of for
Mm-hmm.
gyms and things like that. So that was something I was really into. So we learned a lot when we were over there. It's a pretty cool
Yeah.
experience, a cool school to learn a lot from.
So I also saw that you were a game charter for the Cleveland Browns. I honestly hadn't even heard of this position before. Could you just talk about what you did in this position and how you got this job?
Yeah. Back in this is probably about 10 years ago, 12 years ago now, the Cleveland Browns were just getting into the analytical stuff that a lot of the teams in the NFL are doing. And I got contacted by a guy named Mike Setta, who is still in the NFL now, and has been on like the forefront of all this analytical approach. Basically, what a game charter did was we were like a remote position. They would send us film. We would evaluate the film and get the feedback back to the building, give an evaluation on the players, get some character background things back to them as well, and it would allow them to have more guys out in the field, you could say, looking at guys and getting more information back and getting more eyes on prospects. And eventually you'd go and see them later on in the year at like bowl games and things, see them at the Senior Bowl. A lot of these guys would be at the Senior Bowl, you'd see them there in person and see what you've been looking at the whole season. This eventually transitioned to what a lot of teams now do, is a lot of analytical football approach. You see the Jacksonville Jaguars are actually taking their own approach on this as well. It stemmed from what the Browns were doing, what we were doing, 10, 12, 15 years ago, to what it is now. So it's pretty interesting. There were some things that I really liked about it. There were some things I felt like, because it actually came from a baseball approach. If you remember back then, the movie Moneyball kind of had
Yeah, great movie.
a foundational approach to that. Yeah, it came from that approach, and then they kind of conformed that into a football approach, and they were still working out some things and kinks in that back then, um, to where they've got a pretty good system figured out for it now. Um, so it was cool. It was a really great experience. You got a lot of insight on what's going on. You kind of had like advanced knowledge about what's going to happen in the league as to where it's at now. You're doing a lot of film study, a lot of scouting, and just helping out the team however you can.
Okay, so not only were you with the Browns, but you also did some work with the Bills. During this time in the league, what were some lessons that you learned about the NFL? Maybe about how the system works, how different things are going about, and does this help you when you're trying to send players to the league?
Yeah, that was a really cool experience. I was there for training camp and working in their personnel department, and like training camp operations. We're setting things up and everything like that, and then working with the scouts, and then working as like a scouting assistant for them at the time. It was pretty cool. Just seeing how that was my first job out of college, right? I just got done playing, didn't really know what I wanted to do.
Tough.
Wanted to coach, wanted to figure out where I was going. And I was lucky enough that there was an alumni at Henderson State who had just retired, who was a longtime scout for the Bills, and got me plugged in there. And you get to see the inner workings of how everything works, at the top level in a professional organization. The things that I took away from it was, it was more character things than anything else. Do the right thing. You're not going to get over on somebody if you lie. You're not going to stick around. They're not going to keep players in the building like that. Make sure good behavior is always something that's going to pan out for you. You're never going to be able to get over on these teams because they're basically like a private investigation department essentially for the organization, because they're going back and figuring out your whole background as a player and where you came from, what you've done, and anything that you had that's a red flag. They're going to want to get the answers out of it, and if you don't answer them truthfully, that's going to move you down the board. I mean, there's no way that they're going to pay you millions of dollars to come into their building and they can't trust you.
Yeah.
Things are pretty simple in the NFL. I mean, they don't have a lot of time to really go and try to put a ton of game plan in. It's really you got to be ready to go every single day. And if you're not one of these first top draft picks that are coming in there, they're going to find the next guy. If they feel like there's someone else out there that has more potential than you, and they've already figured out about what your limitations are and the extent that you have of your abilities. There's always someone coming up and ready to go behind you. So you got to be ready to go every day. So when you see someone that sustains a career that's 8, 9, 10, 15 years, you're like, that guy was on point every single day, for real, because that's, they could cut you in a second and put someone else in there and just move on to the next week, and that's really how it goes. So it's a pretty cutthroat business, as we all know. I can say though, Division II football is a little bit the same way. The way that we had to divide up scholarships back then, we had a budget that we would work with, and you'd piece that thing out based on how you felt this guy was going to fit with the team, and you gave a little bit here, you gave a lot there, and you make sure everything conformed. But you basically had a salary cap you had to work with. So going in and seeing how that worked, there were some similarities there from that perspective that helped me when I came back to Henderson. Be able to implement some of those things into the program. But I'd say the biggest thing that I really did get out of the program was getting the structure that we had every day with the Bills, and then bringing that back to what we did to enhance, what we did at Henderson, helped contribute to what we were doing, winning a lot of games and conference championships and playoff runs and all those kind of things. Because then I got to see the day-to-day details that maybe we didn't know about at the time, and I got to at least work with my position group. I worked with the receivers, and I worked with the running backs when I first got back there. What can we do to get them, just as ready as these pros get ready? So that's really where we started taking that edge on, and the mindset that you have every day, and the things that you approach every day. Walking in the building, and we're not sleeping in. We're going and getting these lifts in that the coaches aren't telling you to do. You go get them in because you're doing this to get better at 6 a.m. And those are the things that keep you going and keep you healthy throughout the season, so you can, when it gets time to the postseason, you're making that push, you're making that run, and you're ready to go.
Right. Yeah, this huge. As we come to the end, we both got a few more questions. I kind of wanted to go like behind the scenes of when you was like hipping out in the NFL, like with the scouting and stuff. And the question was like, have you ever like evaluated a player and like told them like, hey, this might be this a guy that we might need to look out for, and like they missed them, and like their player ended up turning out to be good.
Yeah, I mean that could happen sometimes. I can't say necessarily I did that. The way the league is, a lot of scouts know each other, and a lot of scouts help each other out. So
Mhm.
if there's a guy that's out there, and you're looking for a certain player, you're not going to necessarily just show your whole hand. But these guys are on the road together. We're always out there together with all the guys, and they're always making sure that they take care of each other. So no one, because if you don't have information on a player, you may lose your job if you get into deep into these draft meetings and these scouting meetings, and you don't have information, you don't have background, or you don't have an answer on who this guy is or where he's at and how come this other team knows about him. That may be it for you. So the scouting community is like a fraternity in a way, because all the guys that have been on the road, they know the schools, they know the guys. A lot of the older scouts are actually really cool because they'll help the young guys out when they get into schools. It's like, hey man, go talk to him, or here's who you need to handle, here how you need to handle these types of things, and go talk to this trainer, and it's point the people in the right direction so they're not out on an island, because you never know that person may come back at some point in time and be able to help you out. So I mean that's like a whole nother, like, even though they're with different teams, they're always willing to help each other. Really good group of guys. I can honestly say I've never ran into anybody um, in the scouting circuit that was ever a selfish person or anybody that was out for themselves. And that's the reason that they're in those roles, honestly, is because they're someone that the team can trust, and they know that their best interest is there, but they just have a good heart and they always help everybody. There's a lot of mentors I have that helped me get jobs that were guys that were scouts on the road, that just they had good connections, and they knew how to help. They really truly want to help the young guys out.
So, I kind of want to transition back to more present. You as a trainer, I just want to know how you manage. Like, obviously, you talked about all the different age groups that you do. I just want to know how you manage all the different training programs, like middle school, high school, college. You know what I'm saying, NFL, things like that. How is it balancing your time to manage each one of those different age groups?
Yeah, you got to have certain aspects ready for certain groups. You want to make sure you're developing them the right way. You don't want to take your young guys and have them doing a bunch of stuff that's going to be over their head. You've still got to keep them hungry and making sure that they're learning. So we'll have like an hour and a half block for our like middle school, young high school kids, like ninth grade. And then we have like our high school guys, like our more polished and kind of elite guys that are in a group, as opposed from the developmental side. And then college is unique because at this point in time right now, there's a few guys that are going to be in town right now, and then they're going to be back in the winter for Christmas break. So you see them for 2 or 3 weeks at a time, and then you see them again after spring ball for in probably the end of May, beginning of June for 2 or 3 weeks. And then right now they got this little break, and we have these guys in town now too. So they kind of jump in more with the pros. When we have our pros in, you kind of got two groups of the pro aspect that you work with. You got your combine guys, your rookie guys are getting ready for the draft. So you kind of have that aspect. We don't start our guys. Ronnie doesn't start our guys until we get probably to the middle of March is really when we start cranking it up. And even then, we're not going full speed on anything. I mean, these guys have just played 16, 17, 18, 20 games, depending on how deep their season went. They got to recover. We got to get these guys recovered for at least 6 weeks before we really start getting into that. You can't just jump right back into it. So there's a whole process that goes into that, making sure guys are ready to go before you go full speed. So you got to know which group you're working with and work them all out together. But then there's times when we have the whole group together, and the pros go, the college guys go, the high school guys go, and then the pro guys and the older guys are leading the group, and the young guys see that, and they're in there with them, and everyone's competing. So there's times for it, and then there's times when you got to isolate them too.
For sure.
Yeah. Speaking on like people that you train, you recently just trained two guys that just went to the league. Sydney Fugard and then Kendrick Blackshire. Want to speak on that and just the opportunity to train those. One of those was my favorite team, the Dallas Cowboys. Sidney Figure, especially speak on him and what he's going to bring.
Yeah, both of those guys are great guys, honestly, and I'm not just saying that just because we train them, but those are really good dudes, high character guys. Sid, in particular, I mean, he has worked his tail off since he got here with us in January. He started out in South Carolina. His parents, his family are from Africa. They're high academic people. They're not playing no games. His mom didn't even want him to play football because she wanted him to get an education. But then she found out that he could actually get a scholarship, get paid for college to go play football, and she's like, "You're playing football." So he's a great guy. He comes from a great family. He went to South Carolina initially, started some games. He was still developing a little bit, learning the position. He was playing tackle and playing guard and playing a few different positions and learning everything. Then he transferred to Baylor his last couple of years and ended up starting there and solidified himself towards the end of his time there. He got with us in December, and I mean, this guy, he lost like 35 pounds and just got in way better shape. Movement ability, he's a really strong kid. Movement ability improved. Yeah, got picked up by the Cowboys, and now he's going to be battling to find his way through camp and make his way onto the team and find a permanent place somewhere. So, but both these guys are both they're great kids, great guys. Really work hard. Love working with them. And there's nothing you couldn't say anything bad about them. That's why they're where they're at today.
For sure. This is my last question for you. I always ask, like, when we have players and coaches on, if we have coaches, I ask them for advice for young coaches coming up in the game, and then players for young players. So for you, I wanted to ask it a little differently. Since you're a trainer developing all different age groups, I just wanted to ask, like what is something that you could tell athletes coming up, maybe little things that they could focus on, maybe whether that's mindset or like little things they could do by themselves. What's just something they could do that'll just help them be better? 1%.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the thing that we see a lot is that there's a difference between guys that love playing football and guys that love being recruited, or guys that love being on social media, Instagram, and getting graphics made for them. If you really want to succeed and sustain in this game for a long time, you got to love the game. You don't want to be out here just worried about what other people think. You really got to just forget about what's going on the outside and lock in and just focus on the things that are in front of you. Because everything else, once you start getting involved in what everyone else is thinking and what other people are doing and checking and seeing what this guy's doing over here or what they're doing over there, you start losing focus of yourself. So you need to really focus on what you're doing. You need to find people that are good support system trainers, coaches, mentors, people that you can get in there and you can lock in with them and just take that all the way.
For sure.
Yeah, that's huge. I got one more before we get into the new rapid fire segment that we started doing. And that last question was just I want you to give you a chance to like highlight what you're doing and so the question is, why should, like, if I'm looking for a trainer, why should I come train with you?
There's no doubt about it that if you're trying to play football at a high level, you come to us because we have you can see how diverse I am, and I'm just one guy. We've got 4 or 5 other guys now that played in the NFL, coach in the NFL. They're with us. Ronnie Braxton's our head trainer, like I said. We got Steve Johnson. He's a former NFL vet who works with a lot of our linebacker prospects, linebacker kids, pass rush specialists. Sidney Jones played in the league 7-8 years, won a Super Bowl. Both those guys won Super Bowls. We got Chris Harris Jr., another guy. He's a DB specialist.
Hey,
all these guys have so much stuff that they've brought in, and these are our trainers that our kids work with every day, and our pros work with them every day. And all this knowledge we have, you're not going to find a better training staff or group to work with, really at all, anywhere when it comes down to that. But I mean, we can coach and do movement specialists. Or specialization on biomechanics and everything, and strength training. We can do that as good as anybody. But what separates us is if you're a parent, you got a kid that plays football, you want to come to us because we've got the college connections, we've got the NFL scouting connections, and just the sheer fact that we're just straight football guys, and we're in here to get after it and help get these kids better and tune up their techniques. Anyone that comes to us is always going to be better when they leave. And that's just the way we do it. And no one's ever going to beat us in football. That's just how we see it.
That's what's up. A great pitch.
Love it.
And if I could answer your other question too, you said about coaches. If there was a young coach that I was to help give them the advice that I got, at least, is if you're in a place, you're always trying to elevate and move up and things like that, and that's great. But the one thing I would say that you want to do as a coach is no matter what place that you're at, make sure that you enjoy your time there. Make sure that you're there, and in every single day, you don't take it for granted. It needs to be an honor and a privilege to be able to be a part of that organization and that team, because eventually, you grow up and you move on, and you don't go back to that place. And all the places that I've been, at some point in time, I can always remember thinking like, oh, I want to get onto this, I want to get onto that. I'm trying to elevate myself, and that's a good mindset to have. But you need to understand that the time that you have there, you don't get that back. Mm-hmm. And you really want to enrich those relationships you have with the people in the building, and make sure that every single person you were there with, you had a positive impact on. It doesn't matter if it's coaching football or anything like that. It's being able to help people get better at any aspect of life, whether it's the support staff or maybe the on-campus people if you're at a college, anything like that. You always want to make sure that those relationships are strong and people are always saying something good about you. So you never want to just leave a place. Mm-hmm. You want to make sure you get the most out of it and help develop the place and leave it better than you found it.
For sure.
Appreciate that. That's some good advice.
You might see that on a midweek message here soon.
It's real though, man. I mean, that's what you want to do. That is part of being a team. Your team isn't just going to be at the one place you're at. It's always, the team is everywhere.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. Now for the final, the rapid fire questions. Well, I'm gonna ask you a few questions, and I want you to answer them fast as possible. You ready?
Let's get it.
All right. Best athlete you ever trained?
Best athlete we ever trained. I'd say right now we got Ashton Genty, but a guy that I had in college would be Mike Thomas, receiver, played for the Rams, Ravens, and Bengals.
Okay. Favorite NFL stadium?
Favorite NFL stadium? You know what? I got two of them. It's going to be, it'd probably be Texas Stadium, the old Cowboy Stadium, with the hole in the roof, the first one, and then Oakland Coliseum with the Raiders. That's my team, and you're never going to find that atmosphere again.
Favorite college stadium?
Favorite college stadium? Probably University of Tennessee.
Oh, okay. That is a great stadium. Yeah, that is a great stadium. Yeah.
My family's from Knoxville, so I've always been in tune with that. LSU's a great one, though. You can't beat LSU.
Current NFL or college coach that you work for, or that you work
Todd
with?
Monken. Yeah, Todd Monken, head coach of the Cleveland Browns. He was our head coach at Southern Miss. I mean, the guy is. I learned so much from that dude, and he's a great guy, and just no games, no holds barred. Tells you exactly how it is. He does not care if he's offended people because he's out there winning games, and he does it the right way.
Mm-hmm. You got three more. Most underrated football position?
Most underrated football position? I would say the nickel on defense, because that's really like the X factor.
That's a great answer.
I've been hearing that a lot recently.
A great answer.
Yeah, that guy's got to do a lot. He's got to be able to run support. He's got to be able to cover in the flats,
guard
short areas,
slots.
direction. What's
He's
that?
Guard slots. He's got to guard slots too.
Oh yeah, no, you got to do it all, and even in that time, like the nickel is the best position in my opinion, because you may be asked to go out and get that one-on-one. So if you're actually a nickel, you get a lot of diverse film. You're playing safety, you're playing a nickel, you play, like I said, you got to get that run fit, you got to come off the edge sometimes. Mm-hmm. You got to cover guys one-on-one. You may go out there and motion out to someone in a one-on-one situation. So you actually get a lot of good film that you can show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now two more. One drill every football player should do.
Oh, that's a great question. One drill everyone should do. Me as a receiver guy, I mean, it should be, catch, get your feet in bounds, yards after catch, get upfield. But honestly, I think the most diverse drill you could do that is most universal for football is like linebacker change of direction drills. Everyone's got to move. They got to start. Those got to be like the most athletic guys. It kind of is a extension of the nickel position as it is, but linebackers got to do it all.
Yeah, they do.
Now, one player every fan should watch this season. That's the last one.
It's a great question again. I'd say any of our guys. We got, say, Raylan Sharp's a guy. We'll see if we want to take a look at him this year. slot out of University of Arkansas. Has been in a few different schools and worked his way up to get to where he's at. We got Laquan Treadwell, who's been in the league now for 11 years, and he's still emerging as a player. He's going to have a big year this year with the Colts, especially with their receiver situation. So, yeah, those are some guys I think you might want to look at. I'm also interested to see what is Justin Jefferson going to do this year. Got to get him a quarterback to get him the ball. Is he going to pick up where he's at? He's obviously a great player, but we got to see, if they can get him where he needs to be. I also like Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. We're going to see what they need to do this year as well. They got some, got to come back from some things. So excited to see what they do.
For sure.
Well, this was the last question. We appreciate you for coming on.
Man,
we appreciate y'all. We appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure y'all subscribe, like, comment, all those good things, and make sure y'all go follow. Coach, you wanna shout out your IG profile?
Yeah, you can find me online. It's at tfratch, Tom Fratcher. You can find me on Instagram, and then if you want to follow our training, it's going to be Real Superior Athletics. You can find us on there. DM us anytime, and we'll get you guys right.
For sure. Just want to thank you guys again for tuning in. Want to thank Thomas for sharing his time with us. Make sure you guys tune in the work that he's doing, also the work that we're doing, and we're wishing him the best in the future.
Yeah, it's been great, guys. Appreciate the time.
Appreciate you, Coach.